What's the deal, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen? Damn, I gotta find the actual video. Where are we? Here? No, here we are. Here. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Um, I'm here with members of my new posse, broadband bully. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You see me, you see them. But anyway, before I started streaming tonight, I haven't streamed in a couple of days, but there's been there is what you call the it's an Xbox civil war going on right now. You know what I mean? You got my man Xbot and GKB going at it. I don't know what the hell's going on, man. But if you don't know, Microsoft. Let me, if you guys are just joining, or if you don't follow gaming like that. This week, of course, was E3. Everybody was waiting to see Xbox Scorpio Project Scorpio. Shout out to everybody in the chat, baby. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You know what I mean? And so everybody's waiting to see this new powerful hardware and console that Microsoft bragged and teased about, last year. 6 teraflops of computing power, X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? They say true 4K. Then come out some things are going to be checkerboard, but not much from Microsoft, for some third parties. Microsoft said from the onstart that they will leave the option up to developers. And if I'm not mistaken, checkerboarding is something that Ubisoft bought the gaming with this that's their thing, checkerboarding, and also bringing it to PC. So people are saying that they take the detractors are saying now that the Xbox One X is not as powerful. It has to just checkerboard to achieve 4K, which it doesn't. You know what I mean? There have been several, I think it's over 30 games to confirm that are native 4K from the rip. Shadow Mortal also is one of them, AAA multiplat that's native 4K. Like I was saying before, that Ubisoft is also bringing checkerboarding to the PC. But it's neither here nor there. So of course, one of the biggest multiplats of this generation or franchises of the eighth gen has been Destiny. Huge game, huge success. Um, you have a lot of fans on both sides of the franchise on the Xbox side and the PlayStation side. Uh, for those of you that do know or may not know, Sony does have the marketing rights for Destiny. Basically, what you're saying when you've seen all the advertisement for Destiny 2 is going to be the PlayStation version. You walk inside GameStop or Best Buy, you're going to see the big Destiny box, maybe see some bundles or whatever the case may be around this holiday season. So, when being interviewed, I'm not going to say the name of the publications or whatever the case may be, because we all know, if you don't know, what's been Sony's claim to fame this generation was having the better version of the multiplex. Listen to that, right? So whether Microsoft may have the marketing deal, I'll give you an example. Call of Duty Ghosts, of course, Microsoft had the marketing deal. Sony's game was 1080p. Microsoft game was 720p. So basically, they used what was in the console, to have a better working version of the game. You know what I mean? We've been seeing that this whole generation. So when asked about the Xbox One X version of Destiny 2, or a huge game, they said they had no plans as of late or as of right now to use the Xbox One X, but it's going to be checkerboard or upscale or 1800p or whatever the case on the PlayStation 4 Pro. And Xbox fans lost their mind. Mind you, the game comes out in September. The console comes out in November. We're not talking about some small indie company. We're talking about a huge Activision, Bungie. You know what I mean? Well, Bungie has a deal with Activision. Huge, game. It's not just not some. This is not the minor leagues. This is the majors here. You know what I mean? And when asked that, he said there are no plans right now to take advantage of the Xbox One X hardware, but they are going to take advantage of the PS4 Pro. And like I said before, Xbox fans lost their mind on Twitter. Now, mind you, I myself, I was gonna get Destiny because I've been live streaming it, and I heard it's a fun game. You know what I mean? But even me reading that comment right there kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Now, you guys, listen. It seemed like once a year I'm good for these good count scandals. You had last year, Green Disc Artist segment. About a year to date, I got thrown up in the whole Titanfall 2 thing when a fan asked Remedy or Respawn Entertainment. He said, "Hey, Destiny 2 was Titanfall 2 was finished," and he showed the PlayStation 4 version of the game. And then the fan said, "Hey, what about I'll take an Xbox version?" And then the developer said, "Hey, green discs aren't as sexy." So and I was like, whoa, like, you know what I mean? So of course he tried to cover. So no, the green disc is just the disc when it's finished, or no, but the average Joe Smo don't know anything about that in the industry. He just wanted the Xbox version of the game. And for like the developer, they've been saying a little slick shit all generation thus far. Respawn, and you had a backlash. I got thrown up in front of it. I said, I forgot what I said, but bringing this art is sexy, and I didn't even get smart. It was all on the Verge, Kotaku, and everywhere. And back, like I said again, Xbox fans lashed out. It wasn't beat for that. You know what I mean? And now, right now, you have a firestorm on Twitter. I even at Bungie. I said Bungie, and now mind you, I barely tweet anybody, any developers or studios, anything. I said Bungie. It's sort of like you're turning your back on the Xbox fans that made you. Let's be clear. It was the Xbox fans that made them, and even like I said, with Respawn Entertainment, it was the Xbox fans that made them because the first Titanfall sold over 10 million, units. So what happened was they went from Titanfall 1 to Titanfall 2. Now, according to Remedy, Respawn Entertainment, they said the game could be made without Microsoft with the cloud, and gave it this whole speech. We all read it, saw the speech, right? And they changed. If you ever played Titanfall 1 and Titanfall 2, it's not the same game. Totally different, you know what I mean? But they was dying to make the game multiplayer. And then, like your core audience that made you sell 10 million, a lot of fans felt like Respawn turned their back on them, and the game flopped. It burned. Now, it did come up behind Duty and Battlefield, but a lot of fans felt slighted. And even with, like I said, with Destiny 2, which is going to be a huge game, a lot of Xbox fans feel slightly. What the hell? You don't know if you're going to support it. Like we're not talking about the Nintendo Switch here. You know what I mean? And we're not talking about like Destiny 2 bombed on the Xbox platform. If I'm not mistaken, it outsold, maybe not now to the date, but it was outselling the PlayStation 4 version of Destiny. You know what I mean? So they feel slighted. So let me ask you guys: now, me personally, I'm not going to buy the game. I don't like that. I just feel like, and this is not no fanboy shit. Yeah, I feel like if you buy any, if you're an Xbox guy, if you're a PlayStation, doesn't matter, right? I don't think no console should be held back. You understand what I'm saying? You remember the whole thing? Hashtag no parity when it's bugging over the Assassin's Creed 900p. That's like, if they want to start doing things, it becomes dangerous. Because imagine, God forbid, if Nintendo gets the lead, and every game they made has to be made around to work on the Switch. So games are going to be held back. You know what I mean? That leads, like I said, the competition for Sony to come out and deliver a beast of a console, the next console. If developers are going to start holding, things back, there's no need to, right? So, like I said, I didn't like the comment. They're not sure at the moment if they're going to support the Scorpio. Mind you, the console comes out this holiday season along with their game. Right. So, post up, or Garrett, one of you guys, or whoever.
I'm gonna start it out by saying this. Being as though I'm going to be an Xbox One X owner, if you're not going to support my console, I'm not going to support your game. Period. Like, I don't want to hear about. I don't want to hear any type of reason. You're fucking Bungie. You know what I'm saying? You're known to Microsoft. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got into a little something with my man today in Bang Bang. He told me, "Oh, Bungie, man." No. That Microsoft check made Bungie. Don't ever get that twisted. Yeah. Halo looked a lot different before that Microsoft check.
Yeah, that's the documentary.
Don't play around. So if you're not going to support my console, I'm not supporting you. In fact, if I catch anybody on my console playing that shit, I'm booting you right off my damn Xbox Live list. Flat out for wood buffing. We ain't into that. Mm-hmm. You know my rules.
Now, my perspective is this. I'm a PlayStation guy. I play on everything. What goes around comes around. When the 360 and the PS3 were out, Xbox got the best version of everything. They got all the DLC first, a month ahead of time. Okay. We always got the bullshit ports. Now the shoe's on the other foot, and people want to cry about it. It sucks for everyone. This whole
I don't think that's the same thing. I get what you're saying. And what they're saying, they're not so sure if they're going to support it. Now, the 360, it was easy to develop one. And not to cut you off, with the line, you know what I mean? But they're not sure if they're going to. I'm not talking about DLC coming first. I didn't even mention that. No. Just say that you're not sure if you're going to support the platform. And that right there, that blows my mind. Regardless of whoever's in the league, to me, that's like a slap in the face. You know what I mean? That's
they're going to support it to the point because you're going to get exactly what the PlayStation is going to get, and the PlayStation is not going to get the shitty version.
I'm tell you, we're not getting. They said we're not getting in. They're not sure if we're getting an Xbox enhanced version, whereas though PS4 has a PS4 Pro enhanced version.
So that's fucked up. I misunderstood them. That's
Yeah,
outrageous.
like
I thought they were
even
gonna
if
get like
even if
the pro version on the Xbox One. You know, that's what I thought. They ain't getting that, and they're just getting the regular, you know, Xbox One S version, the PS4 version. And they're not even gonna try to step it up for the Xbox One X. That's some fucked up shit.
I look at it like this, man. I'm gonna spend my money where I feel value. Okay,
right.
I'm gonna be an X1X owner. If you're not gonna put your all behind my platform of choice, then I'm not gonna support you. Now, back in the Xbox 360 and PS3 era, it was different. The Xbox 360 was much easier to develop for. The PS3 development wise was hard. So I can understand why 360 got the better versions of things. In this era, the PS4 and the Xbox One, if you look at it since the release, the PS4 been getting better versions of all the games. They weren't scaling back on the PS4 and lining it up with the 900p and 720p on the Xbox One. No, they was okay. We fit a 1080p on the PS4 because it can handle, and whatever the Xbox One can handle, it's gonna handle. Now, since the X1X is coming out, it's this change where some developers are embracing it, saying, "Wow, this is a powerful machine." And things like that. Yeah, people crying over the 30 frames per second thing. It's gonna take time for them to get their hands on that dev kit and really get the gel in before we start saying 60 frames per second. But on Bungie end to say, hey, we might not even take the time or the energy to see what it is capable of, and you're asking us to spend our money with y'all? Nah, you got a problem. You got me wrong, player.
Exactly. I think not, Bungie. I think not. You ain't getting a fucking dollar from me. I ain't even like Destiny, so I know you ain't getting nothing from me.
And this is not even on no fanboy. This has nothing to do with being a fanboy. This if when you spending your money, you want to spend your money knowing that whatever you purchase and whoever you purchasing from, whatever they create or whatever you buy, you know that they put they all into that purchase. It's like you going to buy the best TV. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go out and buy the best TV, and I know since it costs this much, I know I'm getting a value product. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to spend my money on the X1X. I know I'm getting a value product. Development wise, I want them to put they all in and take full utilization of my console, like they doing on the PS4 and the PS on the Pro. You know what I'm saying? Unless they still emotional over the Microsoft thing that's happened years ago, get off it.
Hey, Post Up, I was suggesting this on a multiplayer. I suggest that Microsoft send over one of those dev kits that they send to the developers, and so that way you can see how much of the how much utilization they're using. If you finding games that are checkerboarded and they only use like 60% of the Scorpio's power, like, nah, bro, let us know so we know. Okay, y'all trying to disrespect us? Nah, don't buy that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you gotta speak with your wallet, man. Digital Foundry don't mind exposing anything. Yo, they all about the views, bro. Trust me. Like
I was scrolling through online today, and I thought I ran by some. There was a topic brought up on one of the gaming sites I was on.
Whoa,
where they were saying something where Sony is being investigated, like that, about money marketing deals and holding back. I really clicked on it because I was busy, but I saw like an article about that too, that they're looking into that, like holding back the parity.
Let me tell you something. These corporations is not going to talk contracts, clauses, and stipulations like that with you. You know what I'm saying?
That's against the law.
Yeah, I know. I know, but they're not. They'll tell you anything. They'll tell you what you want to hear. But when it comes to contracts, they're not going to speak on it. But yeah, man, it's
my man. What's his name? Jim Ryan. I forgot the guy's name. One of those head honcho. I think it's Ryan something.
Yeah,
I think it's Jim. I'm over there at Sony, and he was being interviewed by Eurogamer. And like I said, we all know whether you choose to agree or not. But for like I said, the first 3 years or so, Sony really had Bloodborne, the Last of Us Remastered, and the best version of the multiplats. Now, regardless if Microsoft may have had the marketing deal, I'll give you an example. The Witcher, it was dynamic or 900p. You know what I'm saying? Sony's had the better version of the multi. It's been a more powerful console. It is what it is. But even in the media or whatever, they didn't have a problem. Even though Microsoft may have had the marketing deal, you didn't, some developers didn't hold back the PlayStation version. If that's the case, it wouldn't have been any resolution gate. So when they
Problem
asked
is-
Jim Ryan, or I think his name is Jim Ryan. If not, please forgive me. I know his name is Ryan. What about Scorpio or Xbox One X? And when it comes to, like I said, the multiplayer is a much more powerful console. Oh, he said, well, normally what that happens, maybe the developers would develop to the lowest common denominator, and then, basically, with the contract, with marketing, like it was basically like, hey, they may have something in, like, that the Xbox version can outshine or really perform the PS4 version. And if that is the case, I'm not saying that it's true because I didn't see any contracts, but you're right. But just he didn't want to put up the word contract, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's bad. Let me tell you something. People always say that Sony's for the gamer, right? And listen, let me give you an example. Let me get you guys, you can take your spin on this. I'm an Xbox guy, right? Yeah, everybody knows through and through. When the PS4 Pro came out, and I normally say I buy all my multiplats on the Xbox. That's what I do the most of my gaming at. I got the PlayStation just for the exclusives. Then if you're a PlayStation fan, it may be the opposite for you. You may get all your multiplats on the PlayStation and get all your exclusives on the Xbox. But I started getting some multiplats on the PlayStation because with the Pro, I was supposed to get, better looking graphics and all that stuff. So, I got the Battlefields, the Watch Dogs 2. I got all 2K. I got all that on the Pro. You know what I mean? And if you're, like I said, you're a game, like I'm saying, Jesse, you're PlayStation, but you got an old console. So you want to get the bang for your buck. You're going to buy this $500 console. You don't want your games to be shorthand. You know what I mean? That's crazy. You know what I mean? That's like, that you talking about something being anti-gamer or anti-consumerism. Now, mind you, they just gave their fans the shaft with with cross play. You got Nintendo. If you got Nintendo getting on board with it, and you guys still back, like, that's crazy, man. It's like once Sony gets cocky and take the lead, like they get real arrogant all over again, man. Like, like that's crazy, bro. Like, like that's what you call anti-consumerism.
I think Sony in fear of if they do that unified network in regards to the crossplay, and Microsoft and they accept the fact that Microsoft want to control the service. I think they're in fear of losing some of their fan base due to when they do sign it to them service. They'll say this is much better than this PSN network I've been on.
That's a known fact, man. It's scientifically proven that the Xbox Live, and that's what. Let me tell you something. That's Microsoft's strong suit. That's what pays the bill. They are a software company, engineer. This is what this pays the bill. Sony is a hardware company. Sony makes stuff, vacuum cleaners. The fact that they had the PS4 Pro, small at the time, they had the power supply. So this is what Sony does. They make things. They are a hardware company. Microsoft is a software company. So they both have their strong suits. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know what that's about. If you got Nintendo getting on board with that, first you can say maybe it's a culture thing, maybe Japanese, but Japan, believe it or not, really don't run Sony anymore. You look at all their big was basically there, from over, North America or Europe some damn way. You know what I mean? So I don't know what that's about, man. That's just very, very anti-consumerism, if you ask me, though. You know what I mean? But am I bugging with the Bungie thing? Like, am I bugging, or that really rubbed me the wrong way? And now Microsoft may not say much because in the day, that's every game, especially multiplayer game.
AZ, let me tell you, and this goes back to what you were saying. Like, Phil need to get some kind of Donnie D traits and do something, say something. Fuck that quiet shit. Donnie D would have let a motherfucker know. Yo, y'all gonna do that, huh? All right, we gonna put an end to that. Watch this.
Game.
Phil take a professional approach to everything.
Fuck that professional approach, man. Sometimes you gotta be ignorant as fuck and let people know, man. That's why they fucking with Microsoft.
Even when
Microsoft, one of the biggest fucking companies out there, one of the most richest. These motherfuckers try to play you like you're a bum.
Yo, he take a professional approach. Even when he was on Giant Bomb and he was taking offense to what they were saying about Sony being protective of their fan base, he took a professional approach to taking offense to that. So it's crazy. He just take a professional approach to everything.
Man, I hate that nice guy shit, man. Nice guys always finish last, bro. They will always finish last. If you ain't willing to stand up for yours, man, you're gonna fall with that shit, man.
And what's crazy? I've said it before, but especially before this stuff. Listen, before things like I said, we have. Listen, I'll give you an example. Beside me and you and Jesse, also we may talk behind the scenes and stuff.
Right.
And and the same thing, used to be like back in the day with us from BGST and stuff. So a lot of things that I say now, I've been saying for a while, just talking about it. And sometimes they become public. Basically our podcast on BGST is nothing but a conversation that we may be having early in that morning, basically made public. We really don't have a script. Sometimes we may go in with a topic and just start talking about other things, But that's just my opinion. I think with a podcast is just be open conversation, like barbershop talk. That's how I like to, do mine. But it is what it is. But listen, you're not right. I was saying this a couple years ago that, hey, just what's my man name? Phil's very nice guy. And I know Donnie D gets a lot of slack, you know what I mean? But like I said, when the old regime was in the building, you know what I mean? The Donnie D, the Steve Ballmers, we talking about $1 billion investment, you know what I mean? As far as the Xbox will do. But you had, like I said, publications out there literally trying to destroy their brand, you know what I mean? Man, listen, it's one thing to report on something you may not. I'm not saying that anyone should kiss their ass. If they do something wrong, call them out for it. But when you have people going into they don't like the Xbox One because they can't find the settings, and some you start to look like, like, what I mean, like, this is a little something extra right here, you know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example. My man Jeff Keighley, when he was interviewing the developer of Ark, right? And and he was talking about how Ark is going to look on the Xbox One X. He was basically saying that, hey, this is what it is. It's 1080p 60 or whatever it was. What they called it, with epic settings or ultra settings. We said, hey, but what about the Pro? And he was trying to be nice for a while. He was like, oh man, the Pro can't do it. The Pro's 1080p 30 or whatever with low settings. He can't do it. Like, this is another monster in this case. But what I see people or fans, some fans making a mistake of, well, not even say fans, but this whole console war thing, is that they're equating, like, look, it can't do 4K, and they're gonna look the same. What people are not understanding, I'm gonna say this again for like the 19,000th time, resolution does not mean better graphics, okay? Even if they're both, just say what the Pro does, like 1400p and a checkerboard to 4K, maybe that same as the Pros might be 1400. Maybe the Xbox One X may be 1800. They both checkerboard the 4K. But again, the Xbox One X is going to have the better textures. You know what I mean? The 4K access, and that's something that the Pro can't do because it does not have a high enough memory bandwidth. All that shit they get lost in translation. You know what I mean? There's no excuse. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we talking about this. The console has 9 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM that's allocated just for gaming.
Let me touch this checkerboard stuff, because I kind of fell back and I've been reading all these posts that people been talking about, and it's a lot of misinformation. We got a lot of couch developers on the internet now. Everybody's a developer. Everybody is, got a technical background in game engine creation. Where
hey, that's digital fuckery.
They know what games is more or less demanding. Let me tell you something. The Xbox One X is a 4K console. It is built to do 4K games, either native, 4K 60, or 4K 30. Mm-hmm. Just because developers are choosing to checkerboard at this particular point, most of them is doing it because the console launches in November 7th. November 7th. A lot of them games are probably at the end of their development cycle preparing for the holiday. They're not fit to go in the engine and rebuild it and retweak all that. No, we're going to checkerboard for now, get our games out for the holiday, and when we get more time with this, the dev kit, maybe a couple months down the line or next year, we'll take more time investing in building the engine or tweaking the engine to do 4K 60. But just because it's not happening out of the gate doesn't mean that the console is not capable of doing it.
Mm-hmm. Right, so I got a question for y'all right now.
Mm-hmm.
If Xbox One X, if all the first party exclusives and the older exclusives are getting updates to native 4K, if they're all doing native 4K, and the third party is doing what is it, checkerboarding,
Yeah.
How's that an L for Microsoft? It just means the devs is lazy. Fuck you, man. If the first party getting native,
Yeah,
it's really no
the
to me.
Witcher
I'm
3
sorry.
is native. They got a list of them. That's what I think is on Windows
Exactly. And
Central.
I just heard about Shadow of Mordor being 4K native and
Yeah.
30 frames per second. Like, what are we talking about? It's obvious why it's not for native 4K. Like,
You
come
know what
on.
else to do to add to that? I see some Xbox fans. You know what? It should be 4K 60 on Gears. And it's because it's 4K 60 on. You know, what's not? You have an uncapped frame rate. You can get to whatever, right?
Yeah.
What people listen. What again? What they don't understand, or what explain like this, like even give me a card, a PC card that's 6 teraflops, a little over, right? You're not running that game at 4K 60 with ultra settings on PC. You're not. You know what I mean? With a card, the equivalent, or maybe slightly more powerful than the Xbox One X. You're not running that at 4K 60 with all the bells and whistles. You're not. You know what I mean? But they're able to, give you 4K, like I said. And again, we're not talking about low, we're talking about in high settings. We're talking about in the console. You know what I mean? Maybe you may like. I'm the type of guy today. I like my graphics. As long as my game ain't moving 2 frames across the screen, I'm cool with that. But maybe Microsoft should, maybe give people the option to maybe run it how they want to. If they need, if you want to do it 1440p, and put it at whatever. But too, like you were saying too, post up. A lot of games are built with a engine that's 30 frames. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So that's something totally different in its entirety. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. I think I know. I think Microsoft again, they should really, really get in front of this, and let people know. No, our console is capable of
Yeah.
doing native 4K. Like I said, again, what gets lost in translation, they showed you 30 games. Bond, that's going to be day one, 4K native. I'm not talking about what they call it, enhanced. None of they said native.
Yeah.
It's 30 games at launch, and they said Phil said it was some they hold back. I'm hoping to see Quantum Break and Rise of the Sunset Overdrive, probably even Halo 5. You know what I mean? I'm hoping. You know what I mean? But Phil said he had to hold something back. We talking about day one native. I don't think Sony the Pro. I'm not talking about old Elder Scroll Oblivion type games that were on the 360. The Pro doesn't have, or let me say sports games and racer games and even fighters. They're the easiest to do 4K 60. You know what I
Say
mean?
something.
Yeah.
A lot of this talk is what people are talking about is engine based, man. Everybody want to blame the CPU. Everybody want to blame the box. Everybody is blaming MS for decisions that third party companies are making themselves. You can't do that, man. Before games are developers make a conscientious choice. Okay, we finna build this game. What are we gonna build it? Are we gonna go target 30 frames per second? Or are we gonna target 60 frames per second? And whatever choice they make, they build that engine and that game around that frames per second. Point
Mm-hmm.
blank. MS has no control over the choices that third party is making. I'm seeing all these posts of third party games coming out being 4K 30 frames per second, and everybody looking at Microsoft like Microsoft lied. No, Microsoft didn't lie. Phil specifically said that developers can use the box exactly the way they want to, and if they want to check a board or whatever they want to do, they can do it.
Mm. Yeah, I'm looking at the comment section. My man here put that Shadow of Mordor is already that's not native 4K. It's upscaled 4K on the Pro. It's not native 4K. I have it. I bought it. That's one of the games that I
Nah,
bought.
here goes something crazy right here. My man
Yeah.
just said that he just canceled his pre-order. Fam, you can't pre-order the Xbox One X. It
Yeah,
got
they gonna
past
come
the
in
FCC.
Yeah,
Stop frauding, bro.
what's his name? You gotta put him
Why
on
you
blast.
doing that? Give me the link so I can pre-order where you canceled your pre-order.
What's his name? What's his name? What's his name?
Frederick Holt.
Frederick, where is that?
Yo, come on,
Hey,
stop
don't
it, bro.
come in here with
You're
you
doing
said
too
yeah,
much.
but Best Buy. I just canceled my Phil's a pathological liar. Hey, Fred, you don't come in here styling, bro. You can't even pre-order the damn thing nowhere.
That's Frederick Holtz.
You know what? I'm gonna say this right here,
Frederick
real talk. No, shout out to my man Frederick. I ain't gonna do you dirty, though. I mean, you ain't come out the low. I'm gonna say like this real stuff, right? I don't know why console gamers or maybe quote unquote Xbox fans. I got in parentheses here, right? All of a sudden they didn't deliver. We have never had a console this powerful ever in life. A console.
Facts.
comparing the Xbox One X to what the Pro can do. It's not even close. It's not even me even hating. And I'm not saying that the Pro was not, because I think this is my opinion. I bought a Pro day one. The Pro under delivered. I bought that console thinking I was going to have better graphics, and I didn't get that. I got a higher resolution, but again, resolution does not give you better graphics. You know what I mean? It doesn't do that. You know what I mean? That just gives you a sharper image of what's already on the screen. And if you're into frames per second, you thought, hey, maybe the games will go from being 1080p 30 now to being 1080p 60. How you say, catch me outside? How about that? That's not even the case. You know what I mean? So again, the Xbox One X. Let me clear this again, because then you got my man, you got the PC, weirdos out there, whatever. That's crazy. They shouldn't even have anything to do with this conversation. But the Xbox One X performs leap bounds above what the Pro is doing. You know what I mean? Not only do you have a 4K Blu-ray player, if you're into that type of stuff, 4K 60 HDR gameplay recording. You can record in 4K on your console, especially if you're a YouTube content creator. That's dope and that's epic. You know what I mean? And next thing, not only because if you do the resolution thing, we're getting things at the 4K access. You know what I mean? At the epic settings. Look at Metro. Even though I said it was running, they said it was running on PC, right? But the PC with the specs that are equivalent to what's in the Xbox One X. Look at Anthem, right? Probably we all consider this probably the game of this whole generation that we ever seen, right? EA came out and said that was running on the Xbox One X. You know what I mean? Just think about that. You know what I mean? This is not no I don't understand what it's a win-win. You know what I mean? Microsoft didn't come out there under deliver. It's not like the game. It's not like you need Digital Foundry to tell the difference of what's. It's listen. I'll give you an example, right? I've praised Sony's exclusive this so far. I like the God of War, the No Days Gone, and the Spider-Man. I think they looked amazing, right? But compared, I'm not talking about gameplay or what you may like, your preference, what style of gaming. But compare that to what Microsoft showed graphically. Look at Ori and the Blind Forest 2. And I don't care about Ori. Did you see that game? Did you see that Toad? That's bananas. Man. We're gonna have those graphics in our house. I don't see what the problem is. They're bugging. Bro. It's like Microsoft, damn if they do, damn if they don't. I don't remember the Pro getting this more scrutiny.
Nope.
Nothing.
At all.
Nothing.
At all. Even from the media perspective, it's like soon after that conference, the media start hopping on the price and who is the Xbox X's for. The Pro never got them type of.
Check it out. Post up. My man Craig. Shout out to my man Craig too. But which I see, my man, you're dealing with semantics, right? You say Anthem is checkerboard, okay, and it's a multiplayer, okay. I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna lay you to bed peacefully on this, because you my man, Craig. If it's checkerboard, doesn't make a difference, right? Just say if the PS4 Pro is checkerboarding from 1080p to 4K or 2160p, not a problem. And say maybe the Xbox One version is checkerboarding from 1800p, right? What you're still not understanding, and I'm gonna say this again, that you're getting the ultra settings. It has 9 gigabytes of RAM that at a much higher memory bandwidth that's allocated for gaming. You guys, where the Pro only has 5 gigs of RAM that's allocated for gaming, the Xbox One X has 9 gigabytes of RAM that's allocated for gaming at a much higher memory bandwidth. I think it's 326 gigabytes per second, whereas the Pro thing is 220 or something like that. That's
Not only that though. If you look at Anthem, right?
Yeah.
From the past, Digital Foundry will look at a PS4 Pro game and instantly know it was checkerboarded.
Mm-hmm.
Without zooming in, due to the blurry nature, they actually had to zoom in on Anthem.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to figure out it was checkerboard. Because other than that, it was crispy clear. It wasn't blurry. You didn't get those shadowy effects when the camera was moving real fast or anything like that to show that it's checkerboarding. No, they had to 300% zoom in to figure out that it was checkerboarding. So if the X is doing it, it's not checkerboarding from 1800. It's probably 2144. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. And I'm not even, I didn't want this video to be about it because people are still not missing it. As long as it's checkerboarding like the Pro, it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. No, it's a huge deal. When you put them games side by side, bro, and this what I've always said. You know that I said Microsoft's not going to have a problem asking for $500 unless the game, if they look better graphically. You know, I mean, like I say, they don't have to go to Digital Foundry, and you don't need to go to side by counting the blades of grass. No, one image is softer. I'm not talking about all that. Bro, when they show Metro, you seen the gnats on the blades of grass. We've never had this stuff in console gaming. I've had the Pro for 1 year. It's been in the house for a year, damn near a year, come November or October, right? And it's being real. The games don't look that much better than console, and that all comes down to Sony's software and their API. We talking about Microsoft invests billions of dollars into their API, right? Mm-hmm. And I've said this from day one. So this video wasn't even about an Xbox versus PlayStation thing. Mm-hmm. I bought the Pro. The Pro was 4.2 teraflops, right? Much more powerful than the standard PS4. And to put this in layman's terms, right? Listen, you would need the Pro at 4.2 teraflops and the PlayStation 4 Vanilla or Slim at 1.2 to equal the power of the Xbox One. Just think about that. So for all you people saying it's not that big of a difference, we're not just talking about resolutions here, okay? We're talking about better textures and assets, which you're not going to get in the Pro version because it does not have a high enough memory bandwidth to give you a better RAM, to give you a higher resolution and better graphics. They can't do both. It's a trade-off. I mean, and again, I said this also from the beginning that I would rather Sony just do 1080p. If they can get it to 60, let the TV or whatever upscale to 4K and give me better graphics. Bro, I've been saying that forever. Yeah. I've never changed my tone on that. You know what I mean? I've been saying, because I can't deliver. Listen, I don't care what's native upscale. I don't care. We all can talk about graphics. You know what I mean?
Let me say something. From what I've seen, the Xbox One X is not even being compared to the Pro. From the articles I've seen, they've been comparing it to PC GPUs and PC setups. Yes. I'm not saying that I'm putting it up there with a PC because we already know that's always going to be the head honcho. Let's not kid ourselves. But for Microsoft to go out and for their engineers to
hey, Craig, I'm about to send you the link, Craig, because bro, I tried to put you to bed slowly on this one because you still ain't understanding. You talking about throw out now home.
For Microsoft to try to say, hey, we're finna give you this powerful console and try to get it close as we can to PC performance, I welcome that because I'm not a PC gamer. You know, I love playing on the console because I love the convenience of coming home from a long day of work, sitting down, popping in the game, and just playing. I don't want to go through no setups. I don't want to, update no GPU card drivers or anything like that. I just want to sit down and play the game. That's it.
Hey, Greg, send me a message right now on Twitter. Inbox me a message. I can't find you on Twitter. Inbox me on Twitter, and I will send you the link right now because you got to explain yourself, bro. You up there bugging. You acting like a Miziago right now, bro.
Black Bond trying to get in here too. Black Bond say send him a link.
Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, I think he's from the Weapon Wheel podcast.
Oh, no, he ain't. They said there is no guest list tonight. Hey, Greg, send me a link right now, bro. Send me a link right now. Send me a message right now on Twitter. Because I don't know what you talking about, bro. The Pro is out right now. What the hell I got to do with the price of rice in China? What does that have to do with the price of rice in China, bro?
But one thing, I have never seen the console rile up a fan base this much. You have PC and Sony fans pretty much combined together.
Post up. Let me tell you something about these PC cats, yo.
Hey, hold on. Hey, Greg,
it's crazy,
I got the utmost respect for the PC platform. I understand they will always have the best looking
on Twitter. Send me a message right now on Twitter, and I'm gonna add you. Bro, I don't know what, bro. I don't know if you've been drinking.
Craig, send him a message on Twitter. Like I was saying, I always respect that PC will always have the best looking and the best performing games. I understand that, you know what I'm saying? But I'm a console gamer. I just don't really care. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And PC cats be acting like the middle sibling, man. Like, but I ain't got a PC running at 140. So the fuck what, bro?
Yeah.
I don't care.
And bro,
I don't fucking care.
They never went this hard on the Pro. They never went this hard on the Pro. When the Pro was announced, these PC, they weren't even talking about the Pro in the context of what they talking about the X1X, man. It's crazy.
the Pro was talking about competing with PC. And like I said, I recognize that PC has the best looking and the best performing, but I'm just not a PC gamer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't need
Like,
no
it
PC
just
hooked
is
up to
what-
my
like,
TV.
yo, like PC players are like always trying to recruit cons. Like, come on, man, stop it, bro. Get the fuck out of here.
Just get
You
you a
know what?
PC.
Yo,
You want to
know
do
what?
this?
Hey, bro,
Just
you know
get you a
what, Chris,
PC.
even-
You want to do
Let's
that?
get a
Just
PC.
get you a
You know,
PC.
I
You want a
think that
PC?
right, even that in itself is
No.
crazy. Because
Yo, if I want a
everybody-
PC, I'd have bought a PC, bro. I bought this laptop just to create content. Like,
Uh-huh.
no.
Yo, you know what's crazy though, right? I'm glad you said that, right? You know, because right now they said rags is how come first of some rags exposure. How can someone expose me over the internet? I don't even know. I don't know this dude. You made an hour. Thank you. I got 133 subscribers as of now. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the hour-long documentary. Woo! Listen, all right, back to what I was saying. And I've always said this. Why do PC guys have to interject themselves? Listen, we all this for fun into a console conversation. No one cares about your screensaver. No one cares about how many gigs of RAM did you have in your personal computer. No one cares. I'm just being honest, okay? For what I'm paying, $500, I can sit down on my ass and plug and play, and it will outperform the vast majority of you guys' gaming rigs. That's just a fact. And then listen, how you say, don't mean my words, and the lowest words. According to Valve, Steam, the survey, the people that took their survey, only 33% of them are able to game 1080p, 60 frames a second. Okay. Now, again, I didn't take that survey. And then even better, only 3% of you guys, less than 3% of them, are able to game in 4K. Well, I got this night looking. I'll give you an example. What's my man name? That's up in the attic with the slanted roof and the pissy sheets. Until Webber Will started popping, he got the Patreon. He had a two old ass 560 Ti's for how long? You know what I mean? But it's cool. You get in where you fit in. You know what I mean? But again, not everybody has these. How you say $12,000 PCs or whatever. You know what I mean? And I just think like again, look when Titanfall, when they announced Titanfall, right? That was going to be an exclusive, a lifetime exclusive. For the Xbox One, it wasn't coming to the PlayStation 4. Well, I'll just get it on PC. All right. Microsoft, okay, fine. Still, fuck you, pay me. Everybody gonna get it on PC. That's just so less than 100,000 copies on PC. Like, come on, y'all. Like, stop, bro. Like, stop. You know, you say your audio ain't matching your visual, man. Like these dudes be bugging. Hey, Greg, you gonna send? Hey, Greg, you gonna send that? You gonna see that? You gonna send that message, bro?
How many GPUs on the market now with 9 gigabytes of RAM?
Hey, need those. Yeah, you can.
326 gigabits of bandwidth with a 384-bit pipeline.
Message, need those.
How many GPUs on the market doing that? It's not too many.
But you know what though? But even better than that, what I even with my first video, check it out, right? And people sometimes you go flashy by the what do you call it, the address or the name of the video. You see clicks or whatever, right? When I put scope is going to destroy PC, right? They go by the title and make their video and not listen to what I'm saying inside the video. Right. One thing that consoles have on their side, and what they still don't get, they should know, they're supposed to be these tech savvy guys, is optimization. Okay. I'm not saying that the Xbox One X is as powerful as a GTX 1080 or whatever. No, but just because you have listen, it's very clearly, okay? Just because you have a GTX 1080, all of that power is not allocated for gaming, okay? If you just hit Control Alt Delete, look at all the shit you got running in the background. Even if you're watching my video right now on YouTube on a computer, look at all the stuff you have eaten away from that, okay? Consoles don't have to deal with that, you know what I mean? And what's most important is that the developers can target those set specs 100% of the time. They know what's there. On PC, you have 1,000 different iterations. You have 8 gigs. He has 16 gigs. You have this. You know what I mean? Also, too, what's not being done on PC, or not as that was discussed, the Microsoft has, the Xbox has DirectX 12, the chip embedded right there on the motherboard. That frees up so much other resource. Like it's like this console, maybe a year or two or so, is really going to shine. Really, really going to shine. And Needles, if you want to join, send me a message right now on I can send you the link for a quick second. My man said you got a second. I want to see what this drunk ass nigga talking about. Yeah, you about to be out, right, Garrett?
Yeah.
That's cool. You getting on tonight?
Yeah, I'll be
All right, when you get in, just hit me. I'll be in there. I'll be in there with some ass.
All right, no doubt. Y'all be safe.
Yeah, for sure. My man King's Blood Gaming. Get him in right quick. And Nico, send me a message right now and I add you right quick. If I get the hell up out of here. I want to see what this dude talking about, man. I got this.
He's scared to get that debate, huh?
Nah, I don't know what the hell. He said he gonna happen for a minute. I don't know what the hell he talking about. I didn't explain it myself. He came back and said, "Well, the PS4 is already out, pro." Like what? What had happened was Jerome had the bus car. Talking crazy.
I tell you something. When that X1X come out, man, a lot of these dudes that's talking crap about it, they gonna go with one of the guys' house who got it, and they go leave that and go pick them up one.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's gonna really shine here on you talking about 4K 60. You know what's crazy? I think a lot of people that was still kind of slam the Pro or whatever, not the Pro, the Xbox, they didn't watch that stream in 4K with HDR on 4K TV. Like I watched it on the Mix Act. Like that, like, you know, bro, from the offset. Now listen, I understand Sony show good looking games, but I was like, "What? Damn!" I saw them. Greg, there you go. Hey, Greg, you there?
Hey, what's happening?
All right, now, what are you talking about, bro? Because you ain't making no sense whatsoever. Like, what is your stance? What are you saying? First of all, thank you for joining me. Shout out to you. What are you saying?
Oh well, no, I just think it's unfortunate that. How's my mic sound?
Shitty, but we're gonna get
there, but you
bro.
good though.
What are you saying?
Talk about it.
Okay, well, I mean, I agree with you in principle. I don't have a problem with it being any game being upscaled to 4K.
Okay.
My whole issue has been that 4K native has been overpromised. Sony undersold it, but they gave the consumer, I think, a fair price at $399. So when I heard you guys saying,
I want to take a step by step what you're saying. Okay.
Okay.
You said as far as on Microsoft's side, the 4K has been overpromised, and on Sony's side has been underpromised. Right? Is it what you said?
Yeah, not okay. But again, Microsoft didn't overpromise it; the fanboys did.
Okay, no, okay. Listen, Microsoft has delivered what they said they did. They said that they can give you a console. They can give you uncompromised true 4K
native, and the console can do it.
Okay,
Microsoft. Okay, both consoles can do it.
No. Listen, I'm gonna let you go. Mike, at launch, you have over 30 games. They came out. I'm not talking about checkerboard. I'm talking about that are 30 games, and he said there are more that are being patched to 4K native. All of Microsoft's first-party exclusives and their exclusive are all 4K native. Sony does not have not one first-party title that's 4K native. Sony doesn't have not one. Shit, they're racing. Races are very easy to do. One racer, whatever the case, that's 4K native. You know what I mean? So if you're talking about the old sport, I think 2K. Like I said, sports titles, they're very linear. They're easy.
Well, okay. Let's see. Either it can do 4K native or it can't. Okay, that's like being either you're pro black or you're not. Okay, so either the console, either the Pro can do 4K native, which it can.
Okay, name me these titles. Name some.
Or it can't. Well, I mean, good grief. I believe, I don't try to get caught up in this too much, but off the top of my head, MLB The Show.
That's 4K native? I
believe so. You can look it up.
4K native?
I believe you can look it up. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying, we can look it up here.
All right, but also too, what you're not understanding. I think you get caught up in resolution. Do you think resolution gives you better graphics?
Do I think it? No.
Okay, so.
I know it does.
Okay, so what's more important to you? Because this is where the Pro gets. It's not even comparable. Okay.
Okay.
Because when you're comparing that to, just say, because and like I said before, I think the PS4 Pro is a very capable console. It's 4.2 teraflops. But I've always said this since I got my console. They're wasting the system resources on trying to achieve a higher resolution instead of giving us better resolution, a better graphic, and how you say. Down sampling, which they can't even do because it's not built into the API. But just give us better textures, better shaders, and let the console upscale. You know what I mean? Here's the problem with the with the Xbox One X. Even if they're both using checkerboarding, the Xbox One X version of that game is going to look much better than the Pros because it has it's using the quote unquote the 4K assets and and stuff like which the Pro can't do because it doesn't have a high enough memory bandwidth.
Let me interject.
What evidence do we have that the developers are going to deploy all that?
Let me interject here.
Did you not see?
I'm not saying that next gen. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm simply saying that Jack Lee.
Did you see? What do you call it? Anthem? Anthem?
Look, I saw Anthem. Here's what I know.
I'll give you an example. Okay, you've seen Anthem, right? And I'm not trying to attack you or
I know you're not. You know
what I mean? But we're gonna get the biggest knife in the drawer. We're gonna cut the bullshit off. We're dealing with some magic here, right? We saw Anthem. The Pro's been out how long?
About what? 9 months?
Let's say a year. It'll be a year come November, right?
Yeah, but that's like 5 months away.
Whatever. You know it's bad, right? When well, I'm not gonna say it's bad. We have not seen one game that looks anywhere close to graphically what we've seen until this E3 that Microsoft showed. You know why? It wasn't because of the resolution. Because they were using ultra and epic settings on this game. Did you hear what the developer from Ark said? When he said that we're giving you this game at epic settings, and Jeff Keighley kept trying to say, no, listen, this is not my spin here. This is coming from a developer. You know what I mean? He said, and which the game is out on the PS4 also coming. Ark. He said, no, the PlayStation can't do this. You know what I mean? We talking about, it can't do it. He said, no, the PlayStation to do it at low or maybe medium setting, whereas the Xbox One X is doing it at epic settings. It's a clear advantage. Which is, we talk about again, it's nothing. It's a more powerful console. I don't even know why this is up for debate, but just trying to say,
well, no, I'm
going to downplay it. Like, well, it's not that big of a deal.
You're talking about power. I mean, you're okay. We've known for over a year that they were going to.
I don't think you do.
Let me interject here. If I can, let me interject here.
That's all we talked about.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
All we talked about was power.
In regards to Microsoft, I disagree with them overselling the 4K. The fanboys might have did it to a certain extent, but Microsoft did what they said. Microsoft did what they said they was going to do. And what they mean about true 4K is not only from a resolution perspective, and Next Gen been harping on this pretty much to show is that you getting that 4K native resolution along with 4K assets and content. That's true 4K. That's what Microsoft mean by that. They're giving you 326 gigabytes of bandwidth to handle those 4K assets. 9 gigabytes of system memory. So they delivered on a problem. They kind of over delivered from what the developers been saying.
True 4K is 4096p. Yeah, that's true 4K. So you got to drop that, man. The true 4K.
No. The industry standard is 2160p.
I get that, and I just said I thought Microsoft. What I saw at their presser was simple. It was I have an Xbox One S, and next gen. I heard you say this week. The Xbox One S already, if you have a 4K TV, already does. Your 4K TV is already going to take the games and it's going to upscale them for you. And it's not like the Xbox One S has a bad upscaler in it. It has a good upscaler in it. So what at that conference as a consumer is going to get the consumer to leave the Xbox One S?
So, Craig, you're still going back to resolution. Did you not see the games?
It's the same games, bro.
No, okay. It's the same game, but they look totally different graphically. I'm buying a console, a newer console. Besides, I'm a YouTube content creator. I can record gameplay in 4K, 60, and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But games are going to look better graphically and run better, okay? So if you want the better little games graphically, listen, whether this is just me looking at the screen, that was the old shit, bro. I saw gnats, bugs on little individual blades of grass, bro. I've never seen that this generation.
Really? You haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn and seen the ants crawling up the tree?
Not that level of detail, bro. Okay. Now, listen, and again, I'll give you an example. Again, like Horizon Zero Dawn is a nice looking game. God of War is a great looking game. Spider-Man, a great looking game. But they're not on the level of like that Metro or so even Ori and the Blind Forest 2. Now, I'm not saying if you like, and listen, I'm not talking about what game you might like the best. If you look at the level of detail in that tone. We've never seen anything like this on console.
Next Gen, I thought it looked marvelous. You're preaching to the choir when it comes to the way the games look.
Okay.
But as Craig Harris, the consumer, I'm talking to you now, brother.
Okay.
I did not see anything, and I've got a 4K TV, and I did not see anything that's going to move me from my Xbox One S.
But
that's preference. That's
the thing. I can see
that's subjective too.
Okay, again, but even with you saying that, because you've been defending the Pro, you're fine at what you got, and maybe this ain't for you. But if you want the latest and greatest, which I don't understand, because now people are backing away from this, right? Because you can act like this whole generation again has not been about graphics, has not been about power. That's all I heard for the first 3 years of this generation hasn't been about the game. Now they want to talk about games because they don't have the power aspect anymore. Okay.
Well, let's talk. All right, let's talk about the games then. Let's talk about games. I'd much rather have more content. All right, Next Gen, I'd much rather have more content on game than prettier graphics.
Okay, listen, okay. On what games?
We're talking games now, right?
Okay, so you'd much rather have what?
Now, I'd much rather have content on my game.
What do you mean by that?
That's me.
What are you talking about? DLC? What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean content?
Well, yeah, more content. If we're going to stand in line, say we had a midnight launch for whatever, Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Okay.
All right, you're getting it on the Xbox X.
Okay.
I'm getting it on the PlayStation Pro.
Okay.
When we both walk up there and we pay our $60 or whatever, I'm getting more content than you. Period. That's a fact.
How you get more content?
So I'm getting more game.
How you explain to me how you're getting more content? What do you mean by that?
The Sony build is going to have more locked in content.
You have to pay for DLC,
but
hey, bro, you
I can combat that though. If I'm going up and purchasing that game,
hey, bro,
and I buy it on the Xbox One X. Me personally, I don't care about the extra content because I'm gonna play wherever my friends are at. So that's Xbox, and as far as extra content, that'll come either now or later. But I'm gonna get a better experience on the Xbox due to the community and being amongst my friends.
That's nothing to do about games.
You have to hit with a strong man argument. You said I would rather get on the Pro because I got more stuff locked behind the paywall. Hey, Greg, that's crazy as hell. You bragging about Tom DLC? Hey, Greg, I thought you had some real life shit to bring to the conversation here, bro. Come on now,
bro. I just said I'd much rather Craig Harris.
Hey, but
rather have more content.
Okay, fine, right? And I'm trying to see which because I see your comments you leave on Twitter and stuff about what I don't see anything bad or negative from the X, okay? Because guess what?
Okay,
let me finish. Okay. Even if you don't care about the leading version graphics and all that stuff, then why don't you just keep your standard PS4? Why get the Pro if you have a Pro?
I've never said anything bad about the X. I have every game that I saw. I said every game that I saw. Well, let me finish real fast here, bro. Let me finish it. This won't take long. Every game that I saw was going to be either on a PC, or on the Xbox One, the one that came out in 2013. Okay, the Xbox One S. So what? And it's $4.99.
Okay, that's
so that right there is a cancel.
So again, everything that you've been seeing, that you've been playing, that you can play on your standard PS4 for $200, $250, right? So why get a Pro?
Well, this is your standard Xbox. Throw Pro out. Don't worry about what PlayStation's doing.
No. I'm asking you a question now. Okay. With everything that's been out, I'm taking your same strong man argument here.
All right.
Everything that you're saying that you're doing, that you already had a regular PS4, right? Right?
Yeah, I've had a regular PS4. Yeah.
So with everything that you're saying, because the advantages that you knock away from the X is not that big of a deal, but you went out and bought a Pro. So I don't understand it. So you're really yourself because you didn't have to do the Pro, get a Pro, and still play the same games.
No, I got the Pro because I'm a big Mass Effect fan, and they showed a 4K build at the Pro debut. So that was a wrap for me. I bought it because of Mass Effect. I was disappointed.
It really ain't making no sense now.
Yeah, how am I not making sense, Next Gen?
You just said that resolution on stuff is not a big deal to you, right?
I wanted to play Mass Effect's my favorite game series ever, so I wanted to play that on that build. Okay, listen.
As a fan. Okay, but I just want to say here that you're not really making any sense because you don't care about the graphics and the resolution stuff because you kind of downplayed that on the Xbox One S, right? Since you've been starting, it's not going to because I already can do that on my S, right? But
well, as far as the content's the same content, next gen.
Okay, so it's not the same content from Mass Effect 4, whatever that's on the Slim.
As far as what?
It's not the same. So you mean to tell me that it's a different game on the Pro than it is to the PS4 Slim or PS4?
The marketing deal that I got off of the PlayStation was another reason I got it. PlayStation had a marketing deal for Mass Effect Andromeda. So we got more content. I mean, I'm a big Mass Effect fan. That's where I went to play that.
That's not what I'm asking. You couldn't get that content on the PS4 standard?
I don't. By the time it came out, I already had the Pro.
You're not hearing me. So once again, even the Sony guys said you're contradicting yourself, bro. Let me tell you something, bro. I do this shit here, Greg. And listen, your preference, not a problem. You may enjoy the PlayStation more. We all are biased, okay? But what I'm saying, the same thing that you're knocking the PlayStation 4 down, the Xbox One down. You went out and bought a Pro. You just said I can get all that on the Xbox One S, right? That's what you're. I'm listening. I even asked you that question. I even asked you that question several different ways. There's no reason for me to get up because I already got the S. Because I don't resolution. I don't. But you went out and you praised. I can get her the 4K build, Mass Effect on the Pro.
Yeah, because I wanted a 4K build of that game because I'm a big fan. That's not a contradiction. Okay,
it's not a 4K build of Mass Effect on the.
Well, whatever build you want to call it, 1800 build, upscale, checkerboard build. That was for me as a fan. That's the build I went with.
Okay, not a problem, right? All right, okay,
right.
All right. This is what you want to say now, right? Now, on the right? Maybe this what gets ugly, right? So we know that the Xbox One X is going to have the better version of the game, right? That's just without no brainer. It's a more capable console, right?
Okay, so, based on everything that came out of E3 so far, next gen, I've just heard checkerboarding, and which is fine. I said that earlier. Okay.
Well, okay. Name me one graphically demanding game, right? You keep talking about this 4K. Now, I've always said that 4K again does not give you better graphics. It gives you.
I agree.
What game? Look, I mean, this game real. The Pro has not given us better graphics. It's not. I have one. I have a high-end TV. It has not given us better graphics. It may have given us higher resolution. It hasn't even given us better frame rates. Let's be real. Let's be clear. It has
and better loading times in some games.
Okay. All right. Now there's been examples. This was what I'm saying. You know, when we dealing with, we ain't gonna deal with it. We're gonna get the biggest knife in the drawer and we're gonna cut the bullshit out right here.
That's fine.
Hey, listen, you fucking with the big dog now. There's been several cases where the PS4 standard has outperformed the PS4 Pro.
Right.
Several. Yeah. That's not going to be the case again with you're not going to have a game running better on the Xbox One X the Xbox standard that's going to outperform the Xbox One X. Just when it comes down with Microsoft again, because you can have hardware, but without software, your hardware is shit. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I've said several times, next gen, that we need to give the developers. Let's give these guys and gals that are developing at least a year with the new stuff. I mean, I've said this publicly. Said it on my podcast. I said it on other people's podcasts.
But what I'm saying is this, right? Offset, right? You're getting at day one, okay? You're getting over 30 games that are being patched. Okay.
That's fine.
Now the Pro's been out for how long?
What?
By the time this comes out, because we're going back, you said about resolution. By the time the Pro comes out, the Xbox will be on the market. They've been about the Pro would have 1 year because you act like they're doing the same. They're gonna run the same thing. They're gonna have over. No. You were basically saying they were doing about the same thing. Checkerboard. You kept going back to this checkerboard. And even if you want to say checkerboarding or dynamic or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, they're both doing dynamic and checkerboarding. Yeah.
Actually, the checkerboarding thing is something that Ubisoft created. They're even bringing it to PC. And when I'm talking about the strongman argument, it's saying even if you have a GTX 1080 and Ubisoft, they're bringing checkerboarding to PC also. I was reading the article today. So I'm saying, your GTX is not as powerful enough. But listen, we're talking about day one. You got over 30 games that are 4K native, right? But not only just 4K native, what I've been telling you guys since the start is that they're going to have the PC textures or the 4K assets.
Okay.
The Pro's not doing anything like that. Okay.
Okay.
So so again, maybe it's the damage. I'm not saying that you're damage control, but people are trying to say, well, it's not that much better than the Pro. You guys made it. I'm not saying you. You guys made a big deal. Okay, I'm not saying you. I'm just talking about a lot of this stuff. You're talking about the fans. You blame the 4K stuff on the fans. So now I'm going back to the Sony fans. Sony fans made a big deal between 900p to 1080p. They made a deal saying that 1.3 teraflops to 1.8 that the PS4 is 50% more powerful. Now I didn't say this is shit they were saying. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say this very slow. I want to just sink in, okay? Because I'm not saying that you're trying to soften the blow. When I say the PS4 Pro is nowhere on the Xbox One X level, you would need the PS4 Pro plus a PS4 standard to equal the Xbox One X in power.
Well, I mean, you're preaching to the choir next gen when it comes to that.
No, I'm saying, I'm reading your comments here, and since you came what you've been saying, because you're trying to soften the blow, it's not going to make me go out and get it. But I understand it's you, but you went out and bought the Pro when you already had the PS4. And the reason why I bought the Pro because I thought I was getting better graphics. That's in the case, you know. Right. And many times in the case, the game ran better on the older hardware, which is my God, that's not going to happen.
Which was expected. If you're an early adopter of any technology, you're going to be behind the curveball for at least a year. Okay, look, next gen I got burned. I told you I got burned with the Sony Laserdisc.
Okay, so you think that so you want to go on a record and say that when the Xbox One X come out, there are going to be games that run better on the Xbox standard than the Xbox One X?
Possibly, man. We just don't know. Can we give it time to come out? Okay, we just don't know. It's unfair. I don't know. I'm telling you here on your show in front of everybody, I don't know what it will have, what it's going to do. I just know that what I saw at E3, okay, was fine. It looked gorgeous. And look, I'm glad that they went out and got a diverse lineup of games. That should be celebrated. With that said, when I'm hearing checkerboard, which is fine, I don't have a problem with checkerboard. I never thought we see today where 4K 30 was a bad word. I have said this for weeks. You know, but somehow that's where we are.
Okay, so even let's deal with the checkerboard thing, because I've seen you throwing it around a few times. Not every game is checkerboarding, and even if,
I know it's not, bro.
Even I'm gonna get to this. Okay, that's the only way I can explain it, right? Even if both the Xbox and the PlayStation game or whatever game is going to be checkerboarding, that game still is going to look better on the Xbox One X.
Why? Yes, and I've said it will be negligible, and I'm not just saying that, but
no, bro, listen,
okay. Hey, bro, I'm not damage controlling. That's what they said, bro.
Hey, bro, listen.
That's what they said.
I have a PS4 Pro. Bro, I have one.
Okay.
It doesn't look better graphically than what I already had in the PlayStation 4 because it doesn't have a high enough memory bandwidth. You had developers come out there and said that they're running games in ultra and epic settings, something the Pro can't do.
So I think that's fantastic. You're preaching to the choir when it comes to that.
No, okay, so what I don't understand what you're saying. You're saying there's gonna be negligible. Like, what are you talking about?
Based on what Digital Foundry said about 4K native and 4K, we were talking about the checkerboard. They have said, let me quote Richard Ledbetter. Is that his name? Am I pronouncing his name right? He said, if you're 1 to 3 feet away from your 4K television, you can actually see the checkerboard. Matter of fact, they just talked about this when they did the Gran Turismo breakdown. Okay, when you're 5 to 7 feet back, which is where you should be.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to see it that much of a difference. Now that's from them.
Okay,
that's from them.
Okay. All right, now what do we do? Okay, now because you're still going back to resolution. Okay, which is cool.
I'm just telling you what they said, bro.
Because you're not but again, if one game has more textures, more shaders, ambient lighting, and all that stuff, which another one can't, it doesn't. It's not gonna be able to do it. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't need Digital Foundry, to tell me, or whatever the case may be, that I know that the PS4 Pro can't. I have one at home.
Yeah.
Okay. When to being real. So, like I have one of these things. It's not, like I don't, and I'm not, and I'm a consumer at the end of the day, but to say that
I know
both of them may be checkerboarding, it's fine, but it's more to the picture than that, because one may be checkerboarding because one may be coming up from 1080p. The Pro Mate was normally do 1200p or 1400p. Just say if the Xbox One X again is checkerboard from 1800p, but you're still getting better textures and stuff.
I don't. Okay, you're right. But next gen, if I go see, I don't know, if I go see Wonder Woman at the matinee, okay, and you go see it at the whatever after 6, 7 o'clock, we watching the same movie, bro. I'm paying a cheaper price. You got to understand. You said you're a consumer. Okay, I'm a consumer. Consumer walks in and says, okay, there's a PlayStation Pro sitting there.
Okay.
$399. There's an Xbox X sitting there, $499. And I ask you, you're the salesman. What does this game? And I ask you, does this thing play 4K Blu-rays? You're gonna say yes, sir, it does. Does this thing play video games? Yes, sir, it does. Does this thing play games 4K native? Yes, sir, it does. Well, gee whiz, $399, $499. What do you think the consumer?
Okay, I'm gonna answer your question. So you can answer me, right? If they got them playing side by side, like you just said, or whatever the case may be, one looks better graphically. One looks like the Xbox 360 version, and one looks like the Xbox One X version, okay, or the Xbox One version, okay. There's a clear difference again because you went back to resolution and even taking your same argument because
I went back to price next gen.
The price because you wasn't you could listen. Going by what you said, right? The consumer, you would have bought a PS4 Pro, right? You already had a PS4 for $250, your standard $250,
right?
You spent $150 more. You said to get the PS4 Pro for Mass Effect, just to play it, not better graphics, just to play it in a higher resolution.
I'm a gamer next gen. I'm talking about Joe Schmo consumer.
Because you say that now that you're a gamer, but the same things that you've been.
All right, well, my bad. I should have clarified myself. So put that on me. I'm sorry. I should have clarified.
But what I'm saying, shout out my man Greg for the $5 donation in the super chat. But that same thing, all right. You said that you're a gamer, right? But you went out and bought the PS4 version Pro, which is cool. I'm not knocking you for that, okay?
Yeah, I know. I got you, bro.
But I'm saying, because you had it at a higher, you said it was at a higher resolution, okay? But those same things that you've been knocking the Xbox One X for, well, just give me a little higher resolution, and they're both gonna.
All right, next gen. Also, something else is that they're playing the same games, bro. That's one thing I've not heard you all say. They're playing the same. Now, I'm not going to, you're preaching to the choir when it comes to what's going to look better. I get that. I understand that. You understand that. This yellow gentleman on the podcast understands that. The people in the chat. But we are the minority, brother. I've heard you say this.
Okay. But again, you said they're playing the same. You said they're playing the same games, right?
I'm saying that they are playing when I saw the Microsoft conference, what I saw was multi-plat games. Now, maybe that's something that's only going to be on the Xbox platform that's going to move consumers into that.
They're playing the same game. And again, I'm glad that you said that. They're playing the same game. Cool. But one of those runs those games a lot better and they look better graphically, okay? But even take that away, all right? Even take all that away. It doesn't make a difference because guess what? If you don't care about that stuff, we got a console for you. A $200 goddamn Xbox One S.
Yeah, I've got one right here in my living room.
Okay, now, but I just think it's amazing that now you don't really care about the resolution or the graphics. Not that big of a deal. Listen, bro, you may just like PlayStation more than Xbox. I'm not knocking you for that. What I'm just saying because you basically in the comment you were saying, well, they're both going to checkerboard. It's not going to be. It is a big deal because one.
Well, when you're looking at graphically, looks better. When you're looking at 4K texture. Yes, but Joe Schmo, Mary Joe from Paducah, Kentucky, walking into the store, little boy wants a next gen system, possibly. I'm always looking at stuff from a consumer standpoint, bro.
Because Greg, you're really contradicting yourself. You're my man. Because
where am I contradicting myself?
You didn't look at it from say the point when you went out and bought the Pro and you already had a PlayStation 4.
As a gamer, that's why I bought the Pro.
You just said that you're looking at things from a consumer aspect. And I just told you again that you didn't care about the consumer aspect when you went and got the Pro and you already had the standard. That's all that I'm saying. And even if from Mary Sue in Oklahoma somewhere, and maybe she may not care about better graphics, and that's cool. That's fine.
Well,
we have a standard console here. We have a standard console for you that they're not going to stop selling, which is the $200 PlayStation.
And I agree with you, bro. My whole point, and again, I may not have clarified myself as like I should. Like I said, I said a minute ago, you can put that on. You can put that on me, but I'm looking at this from a consumer standpoint, bro. Okay, $399 for what they put out on the Pro at $399 was consumer friendly. That was a price that could get people to move. That's the advantage of having the Pro plus, but to a lot of the same ecosystem. That's it.
Even Mike Spencer has answered that because the Pro is not doing with the Xbox One X. But even what you're saying, right? At the consumer ecosystem, okay. This is the reason why the Pro is only out of every 5 PlayStation that's sold, one is the PlayStation 4 Pro, because this man from the consumer thing, like you said, the casual, they don't look different graphically. They look the same.
Well, again, bro, and what's the adoption rate of 4K TVs in the United States right now?
What?
Look,
can I say something?
Kareem.
Can I say something? Let's stop with this adoption rate thing. Please. 4K TVs are cheap now. You know what I'm saying? If you want to,
that doesn't mean they're being adopted fast, Kareem.
Everybody getting 4K TVs now.
Everybody's getting 4K. Why is the adoption rate? Why is the adoption rate at 12%, Kareem?
Bro, this same issue came up in the OG Xbox One days when people found out that the OG Xbox only had a broadband port. Everybody shamed Microsoft, saying that the adoption rate of internet at that time was not at a point where Xbox Live would succeed. When Xbox Live came out, everybody and their mama started going to get internet.
Kareem, we're not talking about that.
I'm just saying, I'm comparing that.
We're talking about the adoption rate of 4K technology.
I definitely understand that. I'm comparing and contrasting these situations.
Bad contrast.
But it's the same thing, though. They brought up the adoption rate with Live. Now they're bringing up the adoption rate with 4K TVs.
It's outpacing 1080p TVs by far, though.
Yeah, I mean,
well, what's selling more right now? 1080p TVs or 4K?
That's something I have to look up. I'm not going to put out any numbers.
Okay, well, I'm just saying
when you factual in my statement.
No, I have some data. I did a video on this. I have some data. It just came up from Nielsen that the adoption rate for 4K TVs is outpacing that of the same amount of time when 1080p TVs. It's far outpacing that, but it doesn't make any difference. Guess what? Because even if you don't have a 4K TV, this is the beauty when it comes, I'll tell you about, as far as software, what Microsoft doing is downsampling. Okay,
right.
If you don't have a 4K TV, guess what? You're still going to get the best graphics that you ever seen in your life, and it's not like that on the Pro, because why? Sony didn't build that into their API. That's built within the OS level. That's what I'm talking about. There's levels to this shit right here. Little things that we throw around and talk about. So I didn't want to say great. I keep some things in the cut. Sometimes, like I say, man, sometimes the smartest motherfucker be in the room be the motherfucker you think is the dumbest motherfucker in the room. Now,
next gen, Microsoft.
Listen, let me finish saying this. You got my brother polite. Well, you gonna get this work, but it's ain't even meant for you, man. I keep shitting the host because the things that you're saying. Because now, like I said, you're deterring. You know what I mean? Not people gonna buy because they ain't got you don't need a 4K TV.
You don't.
Show that how it looks when it looks.
You have super sampling.
Yeah, super sampling, and which again the PS4 Pro can't even do. Because that's something that's built in within the OS level.
Okay, you keep bringing up the PS4 Pro. Why? The Xbox is selling against itself, bro.
Listen, this is what this conversation is about, right? You joined the thing. You were saying that, hey, the Pro, I was waiting. Wrong. I ain't going to give them. Well, you've been tweeting me all week, right? The tweeting all week and said, well, it's going to upscale and checkable like the Pro. Everything.
I said they both upscale. Okay, now am I wrong about that?
Let me finish.
Do they both upscale?
How you say, man, we can sing together. We can't talk together. Sit down.
Okay.
Right? So I'm reading your comments here. You're basically saying, well, it's not you're basically saying, and not to put any words in saying that the Xbox One X, it's not that big of a difference for the Pro because they're both upscaling. That was just what I got from your comments here.
I said they're both all right. They're both checkerboarding.
Okay.
Okay, and they both are, and I'm not going to argue 4K textures.
Okay, so you're saying you're admitting that
we got to correct that. The console is not 4K checkerboarding. The engine is. Oh. That's because the developers choosing.
That's fine. Look, I understand what you guys are saying. Okay, truly, I do. What I don't think you all understand is that
I want to say what you said, and because I'm gonna shut the hell up. Go ahead. You just asked me just now,
right?
Why am I bringing up the Pro, right? And I told
to me, Xbox is selling against itself.
Okay, fine. Look, I mean, I'm not talking. You just asked me, right? Because you can't have it both ways, brother. You just asked me, hey, well, why are you bringing up the pro? I said because from the comment section here, you're just basically saying that they're both doing the same thing. They're both checkerboarding. Not that basically, like I said, it was not that big of a deal. Either tweets that you sent me all throughout the week, or both. Hey, Sony can do it too. Sony has 4K, bro. I got you. I don't like going. Now you were tweeting me all week. So fine. So when I bring up the pro, and I'm telling you, it's not doing the same thing that the Xbox. What are you bringing up the pro? What are you gonna do with this? What are you talking about? You join?
Well, I mean, they're both next gen. I'm looking at it basically. They're both upscaling. They both take games. They can upscale them. They both are taking 1440p, 1800p builds, and they're upscaling them. They both have 4K games running on them. They're going to have, whether they're racing games or sports games, or I don't care if it's a game you catching an apple out of a tree. They're going to offer the consumer a lot of the same things. That's it. Okay. Now one is $399 as of right now, and one is not even out on market. So when I hear people complaining about Destiny's not on. The Xbox X is not on market. So why would they build a game for a zero-based consumer? Okay, why would they, bro?
Okay. Here's the thing. I'm gonna take a step by step.
It is a consumer base there.
Okay, but listen, even better than that, because great. You have the mind of a lunatic right now. Listen. You're saying the consumer market. One is out right now. I get it. All right. You said they both do this, right? They both do that. They both do this. All right. Should the Nintendo Switch upscales? Everything upscales. That's not
TV's upscale.
That's not new technology. So
that's my point.
Okay, we're gonna throw that argument out right there. But again, all right. If you want the better graphics, okay. If you want 4K 60 HDR gameplay recording, it's a lot of things that the Xbox One X is doing.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a note again. Resolution doesn't determine your graphics. I've never seen one with a 1400p or 1800p TV. 4K, and even if you don't have a 4K TV and you get a Pro, you get an X, you're going to be able to tell the difference because of super sampling. Okay, again, something that the Pro is not doing. Okay, so there's a lot of things in there that they're doing the Pro just can't do. That Sony didn't bother to invest in. Okay, so besides them upscaling or whatever, the games are going to at the end of the day, games are going to look better graphically. Okay, fuck all the resolution and this and the pixels and the games are going to look better graphically. Okay, I'm not talking about digital pounds side by side and one. No,
I agree with you, bro.
Even you yourself wouldn't bought a Pro. You had a standard slim. You said, "Oh, I bought it because this is built on a 4K."
Yeah, I said that. Yeah,
I didn't know it was built on 4K, but the same thing.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
Xbox One X about. You went out and bought a Pro for, and they didn't even give you any better graphics. That's all that I'm saying. So I'm trying to see where you're coming from this because you went out and bought a Pro. You already
I as a big Mass Effect fan, probably the biggest one of the biggest ones. I won't say the biggest, one of the biggest ones. When for me, seeing that game at that build level, I was like, oh, if that's where I have to go and get that game, so be it. Also, I don't know. You say you got a Pro.
Yes.
On the back of the box, Mass Effect Andromeda is on that box. So that's where I went to get the game. So that was it for me. But I'm a Mass Effect junkie.
Okay.
Commander Shepard running through my veins.
Okay,
bro.
so it's like me saying the thing. You wouldn't have bought a Pro, right? I'm gonna give you even better example. You wouldn't got a Pro, right?
Yeah.
The Xbox One S is out, right?
Yeah.
They both upscale to 4K, and they both do HDR. Okay.
Right.
So if I had an Xbox One S, they both want to upscale to 4K.
Yeah.
They both want to do HDR, and plus this one got a 4K Blu-ray play. I don't need a Pro.
That's fine. That makes sense.
No, I'm just going. Yeah, I'm just saying if you're going to buy your thing, but guess what? If you want the better version, you're going to get that. But I'm just saying the same thing that you were slamming the Xbox One X about. I didn't understand because
I'm not slamming the X. I'm saying that
I know what you're saying.
I'm saying for Joe Schmo consumer. Or is there, for me, I said for me, Craig Harris.
Listen, the Pro and the Xbox One X is not for the Joe Pro consumer. They have the S.
Well, that's what I just said. I said
the standard. Okay, but we're talking, this show is not for the casual. We're talking about
that's
your argument that you were giving.
With you. I said for me, Craig Harris, you can go back and listen to me.
No. I'm just saying, I'm just saying from your argument in the comment section or whatever, whatever. Even Microsoft said their number one selling console was going to be the S. It's
okay. Your argument in the comment section was people were bitching about Destiny.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, that's what the show was about. But okay, Destiny, balls to the wall, play it on PC, bro.
Okay,
that's what I was telling people.
Okay, even better than that. Okay, fine. We can close the show with this. Even with Destiny, right?
Yeah.
All right. And you said there's no consumer base, right? Last time I checked, that the Xbox One and the Xbox One S and X, they share the same library, right? And to say that you have no plans right now to support the Xbox One X, but you're supporting the PS4 Pro.
Okay, but they told you why, though, bro. Why? That was my point. The point is that the Pro is out physically. You can go out after this show and go buy another one. You can't even pre-order
like you gonna wait to the game, bro. Listen, you're gonna wait till the game. Listen, you're gonna wait till the game comes out. The game comes out at the end of September. The console comes out in a month. After what you say, September, out November 7th.
Let me say this.
Okay, but what did Bungie say next gen?
Let me say this. After the E3 conference, it's people that was gonna buy the PS4 Pro that stopped themselves in their tracks and say, "Hey, I'm finna get an X1X." The fan base is there. A lot of people who have Xbox One S's is gonna upgrade to an X1X. So I disagree with the Xbox selling against itself.
Well, why did Phil Spencer say that the Xbox One S would be the bigger seller?
Because
it's selling against itself, Kareem. That's why.
No. The premium, the X1X is a premium device. It's not for everybody. It was built that way. It's not meant for everybody. The casual gamer is not going to go out
against itself.
No, the reason why he said the Xbox One S is going to outsell it is because of price. $249, a $200 Xbox One S will outsell.
I got a comment. Hey, great. I got a comment for you.
Okay.
My man Grace Tate with the $5 donation and super chat. He
said, shout out to him.
He said Mass Effect would have upscaled to 4K on the Slim using a 4K TV. So you didn't even have to get the Pro, like I was saying. You didn't,
it did not. The PlayStation 4 Slim is still the base PlayStation 4.
So is Sony competing against itself?
Sony with the Pro, yeah, that's why it's a 1-to-5 adoption rate.
So see, Microsoft,
okay, I mean that's a fact. Damn.
MS understands this. It ain't like that. MS doesn't understand this. Phil said this. It's a premium console. The hardcore fans is going to pick it up. Casual gamers, people who are looking for an affordable console that can upscale 4K, still have a 4K Blu-ray and HDR, they will settle with the Xbox One S at $200.
I know
people who want that premium experience, they're going to go pay that $499
you had some
for the X1X, bro.
You even lost the diehard Sony fans in here, so this guy's fucking batshit crazy.
I'm looking at it, and they're not saying that, bro.
That's shit me.
Craig Harris, what's wrong with you, bro? That's what they say. But I applaud you for coming on the podcast and being able to speak your mind, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, look, guys, the consoles are out. As far as Destiny's concerned, the guys at Destiny, the Bungie, didn't they come out today and say, "Hey, look, we're supporting the consoles that are out on market now"?
That's because they don't even have a dev kit yet. They don't even have an X1X dev.
Okay, well then why are people complaining about that?
Because when they get one, they're saying they're not going to invest time into it for it to benefit the Xbox One X. That's the problem.
Okay, well that's my point. Like I said, next gen, you're preaching to the choir as far as the prettiness of the console.
No. Listen, I don't agree with them not having no. Microsoft benching them goddamn kids out the Activision. The Call of Duty is going to use it or whatever. I mean, that's bullshit. They just said that was just a stab back at the fans because they was asking, basically everybody, they're going to do the side box or basically everyone wants to see what the advantages of the the X versus is going to have over the Pro. You know how it is, bro. It is what it is. To say, we have no plans right now to support the Pro, which is bullshit. It took Ubisoft a week to get what's called up and running 4K on like it's not hard. It's not that.
Yeah, and didn't I say earlier? Can't we give these guys at least guys and gals a year?
No, but that's not what that was like. It's like this saying. You know, we're not talking about a Nintendo Switch, okay?
Yeah,
we're talking about the Xbox, which is a huge Switch here in the States, huge, especially for shooters. You know what I mean? Destiny sold very, very well on the Xbox platform, okay? Very well, okay?
Yeah, it's so well, period, isn't it? Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was out on the 360. If I'm not mistaken, it sold more on Xbox platforms than it did on Sony's, which is
possible.
Cool. I'm saying you have the marketing deal. I get it. You know what I mean? That's not a problem issue. But the thing is that you have no plans right now to support the Scorpio. We're not talking about a console that's coming out next year. The console will be out in 6 weeks or so after your game is out. Okay, but saying that you're going to support the Pro, which doesn't have a huge install base. You know what I mean? Not really. You know what I mean? You're talking about out of every 5 consoles that you sell, you may sell 1 Pro. You know what I mean? And again, to say that you're going to go out of your way, which is harder to develop one. You know what I mean? The Pro than it is the Scorpio. Very easy. You know what I mean? So that a lot of Xbox fans took it like a slap in the fucking face.
Well, they shouldn't have, because they got to give the guy
time. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people, what do you mean you have no plans to support our console?
Well, I mean, again, let's give them time. If Kareem just said they don't even have the dev kit, can't we give them some time to go ahead and get it together?
It's almost a body game, right? I got my X, right? And buy a game and then wait for them to get the game together. Oh, hell no, bro. That don't even make any sense right there.
Well, like I said, man, my point in your chat was that they were going on and on about Destiny. Yeah, I mean, to me, both consoles are going to checkerboard up. Yes, I understand what you're saying. You're preaching to the choir, bro. So I got you on that.
He said, tell him let him live. He ain't the one doing the punches, man. People in them bro get the JA, man. I'm just saying. Hey, I'm just saying. At the end of the day, shout out my man Craig for joining. It's always fun. I need more of these, man. But Craig, when you come up, you gotta bring your A game, bro. You can't with some straw man arguments. That shit ain't me. Oh, but I'm just saying, I got the Pro because of the 4K build. The same shit you was trashing the Xbox One about. You was just praising the PS4 Pro. That's all that I'm saying.
No, I said me, the gamer, got the bill. That's it. I'm talking for the regular consumer. It's a premium console. Okay, so if that's your argument.
No, if that's no argument, the argument was not really the argument. I'm just saying all week, right? You're basically you even said here that it's not going to be that big of a difference from the Pro to the Xbox One X. Okay, that's been your argument. That's why I bought you here. You know what I mean? And I'm showing you that
because they're both going to checkerboard.
Okay, just keep going back.
So they're both next gen. They're both upscaling. They're both checkerboarding. Okay. If you're going to go to one's going to load 4K textures, one's going to be high, one's going to be epic.
Okay, so
I'll give you an example. Games, bro.
I got you, bro. I know.
I'll give you an example, right? I'll give you an example, right? Shadow War, right? Shadow War, right? It's going to use checkerboarding on the PS4 Pro, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
Massive game. It's going to use checkerboarding. Okay.
Okay.
That's what it is, right? But again, the Shadow War is going to be native on the Xbox One X.
Okay.
Okay. So fine. So because you're going back to the resolution, but not only native, guess what? It's better graphically. So it's still not the same goddamn thing. But maybe, like I said, maybe you may not care about that, which is cool, and that's not an issue. The people are going to act like Microsoft is going to stop selling the Xbox One. We have a console for you, and that's the Xbox One S. And all I'm saying is take those same arguments that you put, because they're doing the same games, they're playing the same games. Okay, fine, but then there's, like I said, there's no reason to buy a Pro if the PS4 Slim is playing the same game. They don't even look any better graphically. They're competing because you said everything that you said, and there's been, I guess, kind of slowly slanted negatively, not negative, but towards Microsoft, but a plus for Sony. But Sony's not competing against itself.
No, they are competing against themselves.
No, I'm just saying. Well, not just saying.
Look, they're not competing consoles next gen. They're competing against themselves.
They're not, bro.
They said Craig's a good guy, but confused at the same time. You know what I mean?
Well, tell him it's Friday night.
You even went on to, about the TV. Not everyone has a 4K TV. Cool. Microsoft is cool. Even if you don't have a 4K TV, guess what? Super Family, the games are going to look.
I agree. They will. That's fine. My point is that you have a slower adoption rate than the industry predicted. I'm not saying they're not adopting the 4K TV. I've said this before. So, I mean, again, we're next gen. I agree with what you're saying at the base level.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
What don't you agree with?
No, that's all I'm saying to you, bro.
What don't you agree with what I'm saying? Because even if you don't have a 4K.
Oh no. What you were saying. Okay, now what you were saying, because I was listening to your show,
okay,
but not at the live point. I was about 30, 40 minutes behind. I was seeing the guys in the chat going through it about Destiny, and I'm like, look, right now they don't plan on building it, and what they've said is there's a zero install base. There's been no Xbox X's sold,
bro.
There's been no Xbox X's sold, so zero.
Okay, so they're not going. That's like saying
the install base is there, bro.
Hey, listen. It's like saying
how many Xbox X's have they sold?
Listen.
Regardless of if they
no.
Sold any,
how many have they sold?
And regardless of if they sold any, after that press conference,
they haven't sold any.
The first thing people did was we pre-order.
Thank you.
Everybody was saying we can't. If people are willing to pre-order, that means it has an install base. They just can't get access to it yet. The install base is there. They just can't get access to the product.
Even better than that, right? Okay, we're not talking about some rinky-dink console, right? Listen, you know that's like saying being at the that's crazy as hell. You said they create. There's no reason to put out any game or developer to make any game to support any new console because they haven't sold any damn hardware yet. So Madden support their day one. All these big games that are support their day one. No, we're gonna wait and see because they haven't sold one. Craig, what the hell? That's crazy as hell, Craig.
No, it's not, bro. Okay, next man, you're a businessman. No. Wait a minute. Let me use a quick example. You're a businessman. I come up to you and say, I got a product for you to sell, and you're like, okay, how am I going to sell? There's why are if I want you to make something for me, and I want you to spend money out of your pocket, you're gonna be like, who am I selling to?
I'm gonna answer your question right here. All right. So that means every time a console comes out, there should be no launch games. You have to. So the company, the stores have to sell the console first.
No, how come?
No. Going by what you said, there's no install base. So the stores should sell the consoles first without any goddamn games. And once you sell one of the consoles, EA Activision is gonna start making games for them.
Okay, and what is the average? All right, what was the average? How many games did Xbox One launch with, bro? How many did they launch with? Let's keep it on.
Great. Listen to what you're saying, bro. You see what you just said? They shouldn't make the game because the console comes out in 6 weeks, right?
I said they should. I said that they shouldn't be pressed about making something for no console. There's no console out, bro.
Hey, bro. So again, should
no. They should be pressed. You know why? Because people are purchasing the X1X based on the fact that the multi-platform titles on there are going to be the best versions of those titles. So if you're having a developer saying before you even make your purchase saying that they're not going to put their better efforts into the game on the console that they're thinking about purchasing, that's a problem.
They didn't say that, Kareem. They said they have no plans right now. That doesn't mean they won't 90 days from now, bro.
November is around the corner, bro.
What now? I didn't hear you.
November is around the corner. November is not that far from here.
Yes,
launch, bro.
I know that. I am simply saying, what if they came out with a Destiny build February 18th? Are you gonna not go buy it?
I'm not gonna buy it.
I'm just asking.
Bro, console games are made on PCs. The build is there. Developers throughout E3 been saying they've been porting over from the PC.
Okay.
And some of them in hours, some of them in a few days. What you mean? We have this is something that you need to think about. What is there to think about?
Okay, correct. I am trying to tell you what these guys came out and said publicly.
You trying to explain slavery, bro, and justify it, man. It wasn't for slavery.
No, I'm not, man. You guys are literally they should just do it anyway.
You about to damage the little brand you got going on because now you getting crazy. No, but listen, man. You know slavery was wrong, but we wasn't for slave. I wouldn't found Jesus. But on that note, right there, we gonna get the hell out of here.
Thanks for hopping on, Craig.
I got sitting for himself, man. This dude here, wow, man.
Yeah.
Man, you are literally saying that there's okay. What did they say? What exactly
have expectations of playing Destiny 2 on the Xbox One X and playing the best version?
Why?
Because What you mean? Why? Because they know the X1X is the most powerful console ever. Yeah. So their expectations of playing any multi-platform on their system is having the better version. Whenever you having a developer coming out saying they'll think about taking advantage of this console,
and what do we tell our kids? You need to manage your expectations. Okay.
No, not if they asking for my money. No, sir.
Well, that's you as a consumer have the final say on what you're going to do, but let's manage our expectations.
So why you bugging them? People complaining about not supporting it, and you told them to calm down.
Yeah, and they taking advantage of the PS4 Pro though. But don't nobody got no problem with that though.
No, I literally said based on what they've said, it made sense to me as a consumer because there's a product on shelf to develop for versus a product that we don't know.
Craig, you just said this now, and I'm gonna say how crazy you just said now.
Okay,
that's your right as a consumer for you not.
It's your right if you don't want to buy it, don't buy it.
Okay, so people are talking about voicing their concerns about them not buying it, and you tell people, "Would you just calm down and wait to see?" Like, bro, we got to go.
Yeah, I mean, you can either go half cocked, not buy it, or wait and see what they do.
Ladies and gentlemen, we out of here, man. Man Craig, my man is sipping on that scissor. He bugging at night, baby, all over the world. Said it.
Hey, shout out to the people watching though, man. Thanks for joining Next Gen. This is my brother.
Yeah, we're good.
We the UFO occupants. He's in the blue room on the table. I'm waiting to get served up next.
Yeah, man. So, hey, Greg, we got to bring this back, man. You know what I mean? He said, I got to bring you back. I'm gonna whip you into shape, man. We got to get something right, man. Man, Jesus, man. What happened? I ain't talked to you in about 6 months, man. You been out there fucking.
I got brother. You rolling out 3-4 shows out there.
I got to get up with you, man.
Doing the Harry Chris.
You out there talking crazy, man.
I love you, brother, man. Hey, let me tell you something. Let me give you a compliment. This is for everybody in the chat.
Yes.
My man Next Gen is a cool ass dude.
Yes.
He talks to me all the time. So we go back and forth a little bit, but I love this man. He ain't been nothing but cool with me. So
he's 100. I started as a fan. I started in a chat, and I'm on a podcast with him. It don't get no 100 in that.
Yeah, I tell you, I rock with those that rock with me, man. And it is like I said, shout out to you guys, man, that basically support me and what I do. You know, different shows that I bring. I appreciate. It means the world. I mean, real talk, man. Because listen, I get it. Without you guys, you know, you guys give me a voice. You know what I mean? And I've learned, listen, I've launched personally, but I've introduced you to a lot of guys that you guys rock out within the community. You know what I mean? And most like I said, some of your most favorite YouTubers that you may like now, I met them in my comment section. You know what I mean? I always say I don't rock out with a lot of, YouTubers for whatever reason. A bunch of weird shit be going on, but I know, just listen, if you're online, you send me an invite. Hop in my live stream, man. Like I said, if you like what I got going, get behind me, support what I got going on. We got some some giveaways. I still got some couple games. I actually think it's who online. We make some live streaming at night. Get it in, man.
I hop on live real quick.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You guys gotta join the live stream. The live stream be rocking, man. They be these podcasts.
They get a lot more wilder than these podcasts.
Nobody got a live stream like me, bro.
We couldn't podcast and stuff that happened on live stream.
You know what I mean? It go down. But listen, thank you guys. Hit the like button, man. Thanks for rocking.
Yeah, hit the like button.
Yes, sir.
If you think my man Craig joined the podcast drunk on that motherfucking boom song, that Wild Right Road, hit number one. He hopped in drunk. He hopped the party drunk with a jock strap on some motherfucking knee highs. I'm gonna hit the one button, man. Get out of here. Thank you for rocking out, man.
Yes, sir.